Hello, folks. How are you today? I hope everything's going well for you. Let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go ahead, share my screen. And we are now in module 13, designing a minimal viable product, MVP. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at our objectives. So our course objectives for this course, for this module, identify the social and economic impact of entrepreneurs in society, and write a full report of an entrepreneur's experience in business. And this ties into our assignment for this module. We can see our module level objectives, as well as our activities for this module, and then the assignments. So I'll go over all that information with you. Okay, so now back to the module. I just want to point out the resources that are available for this module. There's a brief video here on MVP. And then I would like you to, after that, go ahead and explore the Step and Pull website. After you've done that, please go ahead and select the short excerpt here of the Step and Pull on Shark Tank. I think you'll find it interesting. And it all ties in with the MVP. All right, let's go ahead and move along. So now we have our slide deck that I will go over with you. And for our assignments for this module, we are to complete the module 13 information onto the final exam review sheet. And then we have our entrepreneur biography that we're going to complete. And I'll go ahead and open that up for you afterwards so you get a feel for what you'll be doing. Okay, so let me go ahead and start the slide deck. All right, so here in creating an MVP, we are very familiar with this slide now. We know that we have to create a value proposition that somehow is a gain creator for a customer that needs some type of a benefit, or a pain reliever to really relieve a pain that a customer has. And we had mentioned that certainly pain relievers will often, people who have these pains will often pay more for that than some type of a benefit, but not always. Depends on the situation. So we're looking at either having a gain creator or a pain reliever for our product or service. And then here's our customer with these issues that we need to address. Okay, so we've mentioned this before, just to reiterate here again, the old way, we featured a set of products. We delivered it to an engineer, we built it, and we're like, yeah, they will come. And now we've taken things to a different level. Now we are looking at learning, measuring, and building, right? I'm repeating that several times here because I just want you to remember this method instead of just going straight in and just starting to build a product. We don't want to do that. We want to build at the end. Quote here from Amelia Earhart: the most effective way to do it is to do it, right? So at some point, you really just have to get it done. Again, here, as you recall, our customer discovery model, we are doing in reverse. Instead of build, measure, learn, we are learn, measure, and build in reverse. So an MVP should really be designed to learn as much as possible that you can about the product or service with the least amount of effort. So you want to learn as much as you can about what customers perceive it or observe it or interact with it with the least amount of effort. All right, so we don't necessarily need full-scale prototypes. Instead, we want to, prototypes are often in-house and they're not brought out to the public for public to look at and inspect and maybe utilize or just try to make sense of, right? So prototypes tend to stay in-house, where the MVP will go outside. The prototype are usually part of intellectual property rights. So when we look at build, do you need to start, you do need to start with some type of a survey or a interview, which we've done, right? And then we can move from taking that information and then creating our MVP. Many ways to do that as well. What would it look like and how does it work? So there's so many different ways of having an MVP. An MVP can be created for a service business, not just a product business, right? We have many ways that we can sketch out ways of explaining how the service works. So what kind of materials, skills, knowledge, how do we start this? I'm going to refer you back to the Steve Blank video. Please take a look at that. He has a good video there on MVP, and I think you'll enjoy it. Okay, so here's an example. Someone wanted to start an automated process folding machine, so for laundromats. And so, wow, wouldn't that be great? You bring your clothes to the laundromat wants to have folding services rather than folding them manually. They may want to purchase this machine, but how can you have an MVP for this big machine, right? So, but what you can do is have, the least cost possible for building this machine, and that would be, a concierge. So you would do manual operations to see that this would work. It's just a thought. So there are certain things that are big machinery type items where sometimes you need the concierge level to do that work for you on a manual level. All right, so there are many softwares designed to help you with MVPs. One here is wireframe.cc. You take a look at that one. There's Balsamic is another one. You can check that one out. So there are some good, whoops, sorry about that. There are some good tools out there that can help you. SketchUp is another one that you, depending on what you're looking for. The wireframe is like a kind of like a grid type of effect, and that might work for you. You may want to take pictures that would tie into your MVP. There's many free photos available on Unsplash, so you may want to take a look at that. There's prototyping software. That InVision is one. You may want to create an infogram here, or an infographic, and here infogram.com can help you with that. So maybe you want to walk someone through an app with infogram, and it can be used for many other products as well, or services. All right, MVP. So here, suppose you want to create an offer. Here you could test it out to see if this would work, and that would bring your potential customer to your landing page and to see if that would work. And then you, in this particular case, in exchange for an email address. There are video examples too. That's another MVP, right? It doesn't have to be a tangible product. It can be a video explaining what the MVP is. So in this case here, Dropbox has a very, very brief video explaining their product. And to see if anyone would want it, right? So that is another avenue. This is really cool. So you can use like hardware to create some type of MVP, but I really would love you to take a look at 6th Sense technology. This TED Talk here, go ahead and select it. It brings you to this gentleman here who created this really unbelievable technology and started in a small space and then took it elsewhere. He started by just taking the rollers out, or the connector components out of a mouse, and just started working without the mouse and just using his hands. Very interesting concept, and what he had developed into was extraordinary. So you can see how some businesses can start with a very crude and small MVP and can branch off to some extraordinary MVPs. Okay, you can draw sketches of the product if need be. You can use some of the software programs or just sketch it out if need be. Right? There are other 3D modeling softwares that you can use, SolidWorks, Fusion 360, SketchUp. We have here on campus, we have a 3D model printer that you can use as well. So you'll just need to check with the folks downstairs in the School of Entrepreneurship to help you with that. Okay, you can create a video demo maybe, showcasing the information. Here's some examples of some 3D models. Using Kickstarter is maybe another thought, right? So here with this is a robotic arm that's used in industry. And to be able to provide the funds needed to work. It's good video. I think you will enjoy watching that as well. You know, you could outsource your MVP. You could have someone create it for you if you're struggling with the idea. What are the advantages? Well, you know, certainly you have it done professionally. Disadvantages are that perhaps you don't really have exactly what you want, and there's a cost involved. Okay, so we've finished that. Now let's take a look at the assignment for today. All right, so the assignment is the entrepreneur's biography. Well, not for today, but for this module. Okay, so here what we're doing is you're going to write about a biography of an entrepreneur. And this is, you want to write about the entrepreneur, not the business that they started. Of course, you're going to mention the business, that's part of it, you know, that's fine. But where our focus is on the entrepreneur, not the business itself. And we want to go through specific requirements for the paper. So certainly we want a minimum of 4 pages, maximum of 8 pages, double space, Times New Roman, APA 7th edition format and design. You want to use appropriate college level grammar, proper sentence and proper semantics, and all grammar. All right, and so if you struggle with your grammar, please go ahead and use a grammar checker to help you at the end. Sometimes when you're typing really quickly and then you go back and read it and you still just glaze over an error, this is a way to help you with your grammar and then to become more attuned to maybe some consistent errors that you're making and be able to master not having those errors. Anyway, so here we go. So there should be some kind of logical flow. So here is what we have. You have some type of introduction, introducing the entrepreneur to the reader. Next, you want to have the entrepreneur's, you certainly need to include the entrepreneur's name. And then before, what was life like before he or she started the business? Now, you can see here in this particular scenario, I have brackets. Please don't ever leave brackets in a paper. The brackets are there for you to put in that information and then remove the brackets. So anytime you see a bracket, please don't copy that and leave the bracket there, or put the entrepreneur's name in there and then leave the brackets. Remove the brackets, always remove brackets. The brackets signal to you that you need to put information in those brackets and delete the brackets. Okay, so now we want a section that explains starting the business. How did this entrepreneur start the business? Again, it's about the entrepreneur. Information on running the business, growing the business. Did the business fail, or were there failures involved with the business? So we want to include that. Again, it's focused on the entrepreneur. And then you want to have a discussion section where you're including information about what you have written so far. Please be very careful to refrain from using personal pronouns. Just explain the information in a formal tone without using I think, my opinion, me, you know, stay away from the personal pronouns. Just give us the information. And then you have a conclusion. What are the lessons learned from the running this business? What lessons were learned by this entrepreneur? Okay, and then you can see some additional requirements here. here to help you out with each section. So the introduction, here are some questions for you to think about, and please do not copy the questions and put them in the document. Just provide the information as it answers these questions. Yes, have a heading, introduction. You want to have the introduction heading in your paper, and then you would just write about this information without the questions. Again, here is another heading that would be remove brackets, have the entrepreneur's name, and it was life before the business. Okay, and then you would be looking at answering at least 2 of these questions without including the question themselves. Just provide the answers in a narrative form. No bullets, narrative writing. Okay, and then here now we go to, again, the entrepreneur's name, when they started the business. So here, life before they started the business, here, starting the business, answer at least 2 of these questions, whatever really pertains to your entrepreneur. And then next we are running, growing or failing, whatever the business, and that depends on what happened with that entrepreneur. So you're going to customize that so it works for you. And then again, at least 2 of these questions answered. These are just some questions to help you think about what you want to write about. And then we have a discussion heading, and then you're including this information. And then we finally have our conclusion heading, and then you're writing the conclusion information. All right, so here's just some other general points that you'll want to look over. And then please do a grammar checker at the end to make sure that your grammar is succinct and that you don't have any points taken off from for any type of grammar. I'm looking forward to reading your reports. Please reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns as it relates to Module 13, and then I will see you again in Module 14. Thank you so much.